But it wasn't sincere because she's had a long history of saying woke, annoying things. Our new Snow White.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
Rachel Zegler is having a really bad time right now because her Evita show trick made her look like the worst at handling fans. People who paid money got stuck watching a big TV screen, while random people outside got to see the real show for free. Plus, she's had 5 movies that didn't make money. A Snow White movie that only made $50 per movie theater. And interviews where she acts like she's as important as famous old art. This is really, really embarrassing.
Headline after headline demonstrating the horrible reputation that she has made for herself because she just can't seem to keep her own thoughts in her brain.
Let's talk about the biggest trick played on people at a London theater. Since tourists paid money to see a bad show called Cats. Picture this, you're sitting inside the old London Palladium Theatre with your ticket, and you paid about £500, that's like $600. For a live show with Rachel Zegler singing in Evita, you're waiting for lights, drama, a real performance, maybe even some good singing. But what do you get instead? A giant TV screen. Yes, a huge TV like the ones at sports games, because Rachel, instead of singing on the stage like a normal paid performer, decides to climb up to a balcony like a singing princess from a fairy tale and sing Don't Cry for Me Argentina to people standing outside on the street for free.
You had paying customers were waiting to see her on stage, and she took off and headed to a balcony where she could belt out Evita's hit song Don't Cry for Me Argentina live for free, strangers on the street.
So now the people on the street get to hear her sing live for nothing. $0, zero anything. While you sitting inside the building with your ticket and your credit card bill get to watch a TV screen, like watching Netflix. You could have watched that on TikTok from your couch at home and you wouldn't have lost $600 and bought expensive theater snacks. People were so mad they were yelling, "Give us our money back," in 4 different languages. The people outside probably thought something scary was happening inside the theater. Nope. Just Rachel Zegler showing everyone how to trick people and make them really angry.
Snow White, the film that bombed so hard that it only brought in $50 a screen over Mother's Day weekend, is now somehow the #1 streaming hit on Disney+. And before you ask, you're going to say, how did this happen?
This is just the newest example in Rachel's collection of times she messed up really bad. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if she started her own amusement park called Zegler Land, where you pay money just to get pranked.
So in the end, it's really not about talent. It's about watching someone who thought they were above it all finally get humbled. And as far as Hollywood drama goes, this is the sort that not a lot of people can look away from.
Let's look at the bigger picture, okay? This girl has been famous for what? 5 years, not 10, not 20. Just 5 years, and in those 5 short years, she's done something really amazing. She's completely ruined her own career. People were calling her bad for movies before she even made that many movies. That's not even a mean thing to say. That's like a world record. 5 movies that failed in a row. Let me say that again. 5 movies in a row that nobody wanted to see. It's like she's allergic to being successful.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Babe, what business do you mean? As in the films that you act in? Like the one that failed at the box office a couple months later, spectacularly? Is that success?
And not just small failures. We're talking about wasting almost $1 billion of movie studio money. That's $1 billion with a B, that's enough money to make a whole bunch of superhero movies. But instead, it all went down a Rachel Zegler-shaped hole of disaster. And it all started with Steven Spielberg's West Side Story in 2021, where she played Maria, and somehow won a Golden Globe Award. Sure, good for her, but right after that, she destroyed her reputation like she was trying to set a speed record for messing up.
Anyway, although I've seen lots of speculation that she's been blacklisted from Hollywood for the time being, Zegler is currently being considered for the role of Maria in the Sound of Music stage production, and I just have to wonder why on earth anyone hasn't learned anything from her previous experiences.
Now, usually in Hollywood, that's when someone would try to fix their reputation. You mess up, go away for a while, come back acting sorry, cry on a talk show, and win back the fans. But not Rachel. She decided she was too good to say sorry. She wants people to like her again without actually changing how she acts, and nobody's buying it.
She's very good at alienating not only her viewers, but just viewers in general with everything that she says and every social media post she makes.
Now, let's talk about the movie that really sealed her fate, Snow White. Disney should have just called it Snow Hype and No Heart. This was her big chance to be successful, but what did she do? She talked badly about the 1937 classic Disney movie like it was garbage. She called it obviously 1937 like that was some kind of insult. Girl. Yes, it was made in 1937. That's the point. It's famous and important in movie history. But instead, she trashed it like she was making fun of a terrible student movie.
About the very first actress in history to become box office poison before she ever came box office. You know what I'm talking about.
And then she really went too far. She called the prince in the original movie a stalker. A literal stalker. Like he's some creepy guy from a scary TV show just because he sang in the forest. And then she brags that Andrew Burnip's scenes the prince actor could be cut from the new movie, laughing like it's all one big joke. It's Hollywood. Baby, she says. Yeah, and you just played yourself. The cherry on top. The movie made about $50 per movie theater over Mother's Day weekend. $50. That's barely enough to buy two expensive movie theater sodas. Disney, trying to hide how badly it failed, announced it was the #1 streaming movie on Disney Plus. How convenient, right? No proof, no real numbers. Just trust us, guys. It's doing great, we promise.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. Progressive, always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
Meanwhile, fans felt like she was spitting in their faces. First, she disrespects the original movie. Then, she makes fun of the love story. Then, she basically says the male actor's part doesn't matter. And after all that, she expects people to still support her. Rachel, you can't slap people and then ask them to clap for you. But nothing, absolutely nothing beats the huge ego show that is her public image. This woman actually compared herself to the winged victory of Samothrace. That's a famous sculpture in a museum in France for those of you who didn't learn about art in school, a literal masterpiece that's missing its arms. And she thinks it's like her spiritual twin. Like seriously. You think you're a divine ancient treasure because people still come to see you even though you have problems. Girl, people also line up to look at car crashes. That doesn't mean you're the Mona Lisa.
It was a wholesome family film, and now they've turned it into woke trash. Check this out from Wokeness. Disney's Snow White said that harm should befall Trump and his voters. Do not see this film.
And if that wasn't enough, she told her psychiatrist yes. A trained doctor who helps people with their feelings that every inch of her body inside and out deserves to be worshipped, not appreciated, not respected, but worshipped like she's a goddess. Then she follows it up by saying, my compassion has no limits except when someone else is on screen. Then that kindness disappears faster than a part-time worker leaving their job early.
And Rachel Zegler, being 23 or whatever she is, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infertility is the only global solution.
She even said straight out, I'm a narcissist, someone who loves themselves too much, like just casually in an interview. As if that's a cute personality trait that people would find charming. Imagine saying that out loud and thinking it'll make people like you. No wonder movie studios are scared to hire her. She's not just risky. She's a walking disaster with a ring light for making videos. And let's not forget the cheekbones. Yes, she actually said she manifested, made happen with her mind, her cheekbones and dimples. Like she sat there with a vision board asking the universe for face bones instead of talent or, I don't know, basic humility. Who needs acting skills when you can just pose and hope people forget your last movie bombed worse than the musical Cats?
An iconic song, yes, but it's the balcony grabbing all the attention.
5 years in, 5 movie failures deep. A crowd of tricked theater goers chanting, give us our money back. A Disney disaster in the past. And a woman so delusional. She compares herself to ancient art while singing karaoke on a balcony to people who didn't pay anything. Rachel Zegler somehow thinks that fans are just disposable props, not the people paying for her career. Remember that bathroom story she proudly shared on Jimmy Kimmel's talk show? A fan innocently sings Maria to her as she's leaving the restroom, and instead of laughing it off or appreciating the support, she says that it ruined her entire night. Really? Someone sings your own hit song to you and your first reaction is to storm out like it's the end of the world. Who even admits that on national TV? Most celebrities would love to have fans who care enough to hum even one note, but Rachel acts like she was personally attacked by a show tune. I can just imagine the fan watching that interview, feeling embarrassed and thinking, wow, I paid for this woman's movie ticket with my hard-earned money, and she's out here calling me a nightmare for singing one line.
I think there will be people who are disappointed that she hasn't sung it live in the theatre, but I think it's going to be greatly outweighed by the theatricality of using film in that way.
Then she goes on and complains about having to pretend to love fans. At the Snow White ride in Disneyland, yes, you heard that right, pretend. As if standing there and taking photos with people who actually care about your career is some form of cruel punishment. This isn't jury duty, Rachel. These are fans who spent their money on your movies. And the least you could do is fake a smile without acting like it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you. If being nice to the people who made you famous is tiring, maybe it's time to think about getting a different job, because last time I checked, hating your audience isn't exactly the path to success.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
And it doesn't stop there. Outside the Palladium Theater while signing autographs, she's at the same time lecturing people and campaigning for whatever trendy cause is currently popular on social media. It's like she can't just sign her name without turning it into a mini political rally, and the cherry on top, she ends it with a passive-aggressive, "That's enough now, I'm afraid." Oh yes. Nothing screams thank you like cutting off the very people who support you. It's the same tired pattern over and over again. Treat supporters like annoying background noise, then sit there confused when they don't show up to buy movie tickets.
Rachel Zegler, who is the new Snow White, and she's talking about Snow White being woke.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey in Snow White?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age, and there's such an emphasis on what it really means to be the fairest of them all. And
speaking of making everyone mad, let's talk about how she decided to turn politics into her entire personality. In the 2024 election, she posted a TikTok saying, "Vote for Kamala Harris. It's non-negotiable, don't like it, unfollow. I don't need your business." Nothing says please like me like telling half of your potential audience to go away. And then when Trump won in 2024, she thought it would be smart to post F Donald Trump and made Trump supporters and Trump himself never know peace. You really can't make this up. And when people got angry, she took it all back like none of it ever happened. But the internet doesn't forget, Rachel. You might think you're untouchable, but those posts will hurt your career longer than Snow White hurts Disney's bank account.
for a very long time, it seems that nobody has quite captured the public's disdain like our girl, Rachel Zegler. The damage had been done.
As if that wasn't enough, she had to go and post about Free Palestine while promoting Snow White, which made Disney and even Steven Spielberg's people panic completely. Disney likes their princesses squeaky clean, not dropping controversial political opinions during a press tour, but does Rachel care? No, because in her latest June 2025 interview with ID Magazine, she proudly says that she tells the truth no matter what it costs and that there are worse things than her own downfall. Translation: yes, I'm burning my career to the ground, but at least I'm doing it loudly. Self-awareness, none. Just acting like a martyr in a big dose of look at me being brave.
What I mean by that is she has to say them. Rather than staying in her little skull, she has to spit them out into the world. In an interview published in late June 2025 with ID Magazine, Zegler basically said that she views her platform as a responsibility to tell the truth.
Rachel Zegler's Hollywood journey is a perfect example of how not to handle being famous. From her Oscars entitlement tantrum to the Evita balcony disaster and her TikTok political meltdowns, she's turned every opportunity into a PR disaster. She's made fans mad, scared movie studios, and buried herself under waves of angry people, all while doubling down instead of learning from her mistakes. What started as young person arrogance has now snowballed into complete chaos, with her name trending on social media for all the wrong reasons, and yet she still acts like the world owes her applause. At some point, it's not bad luck, it's just bad decisions. Movie studios want safe bets, not ticking time bombs. So the question is, can Rachel pull off a real comeback? Or is this just another chapter in a crash and burn Hollywood story? If you're as fascinated by Hollywood meltdowns as we are, hit that subscribe button. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't miss what's coming next, we're just getting started. Asterisk.